Kirk's death, when Erica Kirk posted Charlie's coffin, you responded, she tagged him, brackets, crying face emojis. In response to Alina Haber's tweet ordering people to fly their flags at half-mast in memory of Charlie, you posted on X, buying flags and poles just to fly them fully erect. And you then posted yesterday, ending every Conservative debate call out I'd do in 2026 with "Don't dodge, bro." That's not what Charlie would have wanted. Do you think that your response to the cold-blooded murder of Charlie Kirk has been appropriate?
Yes. I think that the only way this country moves forward into a better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side. We are 10 years into whatever this Trump madness is, and there is not a single mainstream conservative that will call for a lowering of the temperature on their side. I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. All of the recent political violence that's happened in this country over the past 20 years, the majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it, everybody gets mad because they keep asking Grok about it, has been conservative.
Who shot Charlie Kirk?
A guy from Utah who was raised.
Okay, well, his responses are super mild. You know, compared to the other side of the aisle's cold-hearted and heavily encouraged insulting posts and comments and all-around behavior, like when Democrats get killed, you know? And their side is always the killer. But you won't hear them bringing that up. Of course not. Why would they? They're so desperate to make the other side the villain.
In a Christian family who was a 22-year-old
guy
white
described
dude. He wasn't
Destiny.
Trans. He didn't have a trans girlfriend. He didn't have any trans influences. He didn't have any trans bullets. Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys were wrong on all of that.
To be clear, the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, has made it clear that their investigation has now established that he had been radicalized by a leftist ideology, which drove him to do this. That's just
I'm sorry. Excuse me. When?
Yesterday, he said that.
No. When was he radicalized? In the 6 months that he did remote college? Not
I don't know when he was radicalized, but I do know.
What you just said
I do know
true.
the very reasonable-sounding governor of Utah has made it clear.
No, there is no actual credible evidence yet about the shooter, Tyler Robinson or whatever his name is. There's literally no information on him yet. Everything that's come out has been made up and whatever. And the governor was lying.
Not true.
He
hasn't made it
You may
clear.
not want
he
to
said
hear
this.
this.
Is an ongoing investigation.
You may not want to hear it,
it,
Destiny. But the reality is the investigators, according to the governor of Utah, have established that he was radicalized to a leftist ideology that drove him to murder Charlie Kirk. Now, let me just ask you.
That's just not true.
Let me just
There's
ask
no
you.
way to deal with it.
Okay,
You're living in a
accusing the governor of lying.
Yeah.
That's your prerogative. But
sure.
If it turns out to have been somebody with a leftist ideology who wanted to shut up Charlie Kirk, would you condemn that?
I won't condemn anything until the president of the United States can go on air and say, all of us need to calm down.
So you won't condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk until Donald Trump says something.
I'm a YouTuber. Leftists and Democrats have been condemning and turning down the temperature, condemning violence, turning down the temperature for a decade. Donald Trump can't go on TV and say, all of us need to calm down.
Right.
Can you tell me why he cannot?
Why would you expect anybody, Destiny?
You can't answer that. Can you answer that question? Why can't Trump go on TV and say, all of us should be less violent?
Why do you think
Trump say that?
Why do you think
your behavior contingent on Donald Trump?
Insane right now.
Why do you think?
No,
let me ask a question.
On Donald Trump.
Let me ask a question.
Because he's the president of the United States of America and the leader of the opposing political party.
Destiny.
You have a huge audience of young men who listen to everything you have to say. So when it doesn't matter. You have a huge audience, and because of the fact that you have a huge audience, you have a responsibility to not turn. No, it hasn't. It hasn't been broken. I actually care about the country and want to bring people together. You do the opposite. You represent the worst of us, Destiny. You're embarrassing.
You should tell Donald.
All right, let me ask Destiny a question.
Watch how easy this is.
Hang on, don't all shout at once, please.
If Donald Trump would have come out and say, we should all be less violent,
Destiny,
I have no problem saying,
I have one question for you, Destiny.
Why can't conservatives do that? Why can't conservatives do that?
Destiny, I have a question for you. Why do you think, in your campaign for everyone to dial down the temperature, why do you think that mocking the grieving widow of Charlie Kirk when she posts an image of her at the coffin side. Why do you think that constitutes turning down the temperature?
You can't turn down the temperature on your own. The president of the United States is
inflame
not
the temperature.
able
You're
to-
mocking
No,
his
it's
widow.
already inflamed.
You're
What are you
mocking his
talking
widow.
about? We've had multiple political assassinations over the past year. What do you mean it's turning up the temperature?
Why did you
to
mock his
someone
widow?
Online
Ever.
because
Why
she's
did you
being
mock his
wielded
widow?
as because she's being used as a political weapon right now
Wow.
for conservatives to continue their fight. What do you mean? Wow, she's literally doing
Her husband
recruitment
just got
ads
murdered.
on email. Yeah, and she's using it to drive up recruitment for
And
a
you
political
can't even
movement.
condemn the murder. You won't
The
condemn
president
it.
can't even tell his side
You're
to
so
turn the temperature
deranged
down.
about Trump that you
are
cannot condemn the
unhinged.
murder
It is such a
because you're
joke,
waiting
and
for
you guys
Donald
sit
Trump
here and
to
make
say
money
something.
off of it. It's
All right, let me bring
crazy
in
to
let me
me
bring
that
in
Republicans
Jack.
can't
Let me
do
bring
it.
in let me
What a-
bring in
what a
Jack
joke of the
Posobiec.
world.
I gotta
And there
say,
will be there's still no answer to that question, Piers. You can't say
Which question?
Why can't Donald Trump simply go on TV and say we all need to turn it down,
Fine.
like Biden could, like Obama could,
Fine.
like the Clintons could, like Kamala could? Why
Fine.
not?
Why can't you condemn the murder of
See,
Charlie
it's
Kirk?
unbelievable. I'm not the president
Why
of the United
can't
States.
you
can't answer that
condemn the
question.
murder of Charlie Kirk?
Unbelievable to me.
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because it wasn't my side that caused it. It should
Yes,
be the
it
one that
was.
is driving up
It
the
actually
rhetoric. You
was
don't
your
know
side
it's
that
not even
caused
true.
it.
This
It was
an
your
18
side.
This guy was raised in a white
He
Christian
was a
household,
radicalized
in a Christian
leftist
state.
ideology.
He wasn't radicalized by leftism at all. You have no proof of that whatsoever.
That's what
Just
the
like
investigators
one that killed
are
Melissa
saying.
Was a conservative, just like the people that firebombed
No
Shapiro's
proof.
house was a conservative, just like all the J6ers were
He was not a
conservatives, just like the
conservative,
Proud
he was
Boys
a
were conservatives.
pro-Palestinian activist
Every
out of
single one of
Harrisburg.
every single one of these people. Oh, it's Jack Posobiec, what the author of
not true.
Unhuman, another person that
wasn't conservative.
Charlie supported. Good one, dude.
But I'll give you one last chance, Destiny, to condemn the murder of Charlie
Yes, you
Kirk.
are acting like a
I mean, look how completely incapable they are of answering a question, any question. Every single time I've asked any MAGA person a question, they've quite literally never answered. Not one question. Seriously, I'm not even exaggerating. It's been mind-blowing more than anything I've ever experienced in my whole life. Any question at all. Yes or no question. Even an opinion question. They can't answer any questions. I have never been able to get them to answer a single question. I'm not even joking.
Why can't I hear Donald Trump
'Cause you were against
condemn
humanity.
violence
So,
in this
all
country?
right, you
Why
won't
can't I
condemn
hear
it. Okay, we've
I
all
can't hear it.
heard.
That's insane
We've
to
all
me.
heard you repeatedly refuse to
And
condemn
we've
it.
heard Donald Trump refuse to condemn
Jack
it too. But for
Posobiec-
some reason, the leftists on YouTube are
It's
a bigger
nuts.
deal. Unbelievable.
Yeah, what's incredible is you don't have the basic humanity to condemn it. You'd rather taunt his widow. I find that sickening. Jack Posobiec.
I find it sickening that when people are getting killed in the country, the president of the United States on Fox and Friends, when they're begging him, what do you say to your followers that want revenge? He says, I don't know, all the elections are rigged. It's the radical Democrats. That's insane to me. And then the fixation is, well, who on Twitter and YouTube isn't condemning the violence?
All right, Jack
Piers,
Posobiec.
you have a great example here of the type of cancer I'm talking about, where when you present direct information, they refuse, they obfuscate,
God.
they
That's
refuse, they say it's not true, they lie. You could see from the bullet casings, you could see from postings, you could see from everything out there that it's very clear what happened here. This is the same people who supported President Trump almost getting assassinated twice last year, Corey Capatore being assassinated
By
last year
conservatives.
in a situation. Again, see, just lies. That's all they do. They talk over. They don't even let you give a chance to speak. And something needs to be done, Piers. Something absolutely needs to be done. This ideology should be shamed, humiliated, driven from the public discourse. I mean, you've got people who have completely dissociated with humanity because all they care about are clicks, and YouTube streams, and likes. Go to the casket. Go to the gravesite. Go talk to the widow. You know, I don't even know how to discuss this with someone who's completely lost all touch with reality.
Yeah, I mean, Anna.
What's Jack's answer to why can't the president say we should all be less violent?
Because you can't even condemn the cold blood
Because I
execution
can't.
of Charlie
Donald Trump
Kirk.
turns on Destiny.
I don't think
on
you're in the
YouTube,
position
and he
to
says, "I
demand
wonder what
anything from
Destiny's saying
anybody.
on YouTube. That's how I'm going to take my.
You're
my
not in any
pointers, but
position
really?
to condemn anybody for anything. You won't
Absolutely
condemn a
am, because
cold-blooded
he's the president
murder.
of the United States. He's the president of the United States. No one here can answer that question.
Basic
Why Donald
humanity
Trump-
says
why
the
Donald
murder
Trump,
was
the president-
horrific.
He just said you're not in any position to condemn, but they're asking him throughout this whole thing to condemn it.
Can't say
Why can't
all
you
of us
say
need
it?
to be less violent.
Why can't you
Democrats
say
have been
it,
saying
Destiny?
for over a decade.
To
Democrats
say
have been
the
saying it for over
murder
a
was
decade.
horrific and
Why
unacceptable.
can't Donald Trump say it?
You can't do
why
it,
does someone
can you?
hear any words for Donald Trump?
All right, Anna
What do you have for
Kasparin.
Donald Trump? Nothing exactly.
Anna Kasparin, This, to me, this is what I'm talking about. That I think there is an element of the left, the hard woke left, that have completely lost their minds. If you are not able to just outright simply condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk, and if you cannot stop yourself from mocking his grieving widow, you are sick, as I've just seen from Destiny. It's a sick
thing
mindset.
is weaponizing a widow's grief to try to do recruitment for your political party. That's probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. She's showing up in emails for recruitment drives for TPUSA.
Destiny? What did you think the assassination of a political figure would do? What did you think the outcome was going to be? What did you think the outcome was? And by the way,
are you asking me for the pragmatic political outcome, or are you asking me for?
Hey, how about take it easy on the Adderall? Take it easy on the Adderall, and let me answer the question that Pierce asked me.
You must have been really bullied today, I guess.
Let Anna speak, please.
My behavior.
They always go to personal insults when they're not getting their way. I get it. It's natural when you're like frustrated while debating, but like, it's just so, sometimes it's just so dumb.
Is not reliant on how anyone else behaves. Every morning I wake up and I make decisions about how I choose to react or respond to things. I don't wake up in the morning, check what Donald Trump has to say, and then base my own personal behavior on his behavior. I agree with you in that it would be very helpful to have the leader of this country want to turn the temperature down. And he hasn't done that. I agree with you on that. But that doesn't change the way I choose to respond to what's going on. The idea of mocking a woman who is now a widow with 2 young children who witnessed her husband get shot in the neck and bleed out to death. How could you mock that? What is wrong with you? I just don't understand it.
But we're only treating that side the way that they treat others. That's the whole point. It doesn't feel nice, does it? It's not cool. It's not funny. It's not any of those. That's the point.
I don't understand it. I don't understand you, Destiny. You have so much hatred in your heart, and at the
it's
same
such
time,
a,
you
it's such a
judge
simple
others
thing. If you're
as
going to
hateful.
weaponize somebody's grief against the other party, well, then of course people have a right to fight back against it. I think that she has every right to grieve in whatever way she wants.
They're not
but when that
much.
grief is going to be weaponized to do recruitment, political recruitment, and further radicalization of the other side, then of course you not only have the ability to mock it, I think you have the obligation to mock it. It's insane.
So true.
Let me understand your argument. So since others are using her grief to politically recruit, you think that it's okay to mock her specifically?
Since others are using her grief,
sense?
she's the one who gave a 17-minute speech on TV where she talked about good versus evil. She's the one showing up in TPUSA ads to 1 or 2 days after.
If someone assassinated my husband, I would not be able to have the level of composure she had during that speech. I would be out for blood. I understand why she's angry and why she said the things that she said. Okay, you need to understand what being a human is, what it's like to actually lose someone that you love, that you chose to spend your life with, that you chose to raise children with, a person who was violently and viciously assassinated like that. This is why I've moved away.
And when something happens,
no, it's not about the way I get treated.
You don't
I get
say,
treated
hey, let's
like
throw
crap
a camera
from
in
both
front
sides
of
of
you
the
and have
political
you do
aisle.
mass recruitment for our political party while everyone over here is calling for civil
Well, I
war.
wonder why.
It's unhinged. When you've got people like Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire, the
we're
president
talking to a guy who said he'd be okay with his own parents getting killed if they went to that Trump rally where that assassination attempt
and we're talking
happened.
to a
There's
woman
no
who went
reasoning
on and
with
did
you,
the whole
Destiny.
conservative.
I also had a conversation with Jack Posobiec on her take. It was awesome.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Jack,
what
the guy over there that
democracy
gets
is about.
paid by
Having
Russia
an
that
exchange
lies
of
when everything that
ideas.
comes out of his
Yeah.
mouth. Yeah,
all right,
great.
let me
That's a
bring
good
in.
one.
Let me
Very
bring
I
in.
agree with him on everything.
That's not at all what democracy is about. First of all, liberals and leftists aren't for gun violence. They fight against gun ownership. So now it's their fault, even though they've been strongly fighting against these outcomes? That's like blaming the firefighter for the, or better yet, that's like blaming the fire alarm for the fire. Like, what the hell?
But at least we can have dialogue.
Anna, you're completely right, by the way. Anna is completely right.
Didn't it?
And the irony of Charlie Kirk is that he...
Oh my God, I cannot believe the Republicans and right-wingers or whatever, whoever else, haven't learned a single damn thing from all this. I mean...
led the way in going in to debate with people who hated him and he would try and have respectful
Charlie
dialogue.
Kirk beat up on college students.
Unlike
That's all
you,
he
Destiny.
did. Let's be
Let
real.
me bring Andrew Wilson in.
So do you.
Let me bring in Andrew Wilson.
So do you. You beat up on college students. You go on a college
my
tour. You're on a
God.
college
He's trying
tour
to
right
hold
now
us
to beat up
guys
on
know
college students. What are you talking about, Destiny? That's what you're doing right this second, is going on a college tour to go beat up on college students. By the way, can I just ask you a question?
I don't
yes
exclusively beat up on college.
Can you actually answer? Can you actually answer? Hang on, calm down. I just got one question. I got one question for you, and I want you to actually answer it. Are you glad Charlie Kirk is dead?
No, I don't think anybody in this country should be dying to political violence. It's insane. The past 5 years in this country has been crazy. But the reality is, until conservatives,
so then why did you say to your co-host that Trump deserved a bullet? Why did you tell him that?
Until conservatives have to say, hey, we all need to be less violent, there's no purpose in Democrats doing it, because every time Democrats disavow, you further entrench your guys' delusional beliefs that all the violence is coming on the left. Donald Trump can go on TV. He can say, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. They can go on Parler and say, we heard you. They can go to the Capitol and break in and try to insurrect. They can get convicted in front of a jury, and then Donald Trump can pardon them, and we can come out and go, hey, guys, why aren't Democrats disavowing violence? And pretend that the problem is coming from the left. Democrats do a disservice to this country by disavowing violence constantly when the president of the United States
Let me respond
won't go on TV and say all of us need to be less violent.
Destiny.
How easy
So
would that
the
be?
thing is, why did you say to your co-host
keep focusing
that
on me.
the
Keep
bullet
focusing on me.
that the bullet
I'm not here to
that
play-
the bullet was for Trump? Why did you say to your co-host
why did
that
Donald
the
Trump-
best
why did
place for
Donald
the bullet
Trump
was
call
Trump?
Kamala
Why did you
a
say that?
fascist? Why did Donald Trump call
It's a
Kamala
whataboutism.
fascist? That's
They're
what-
not even
Whataboutism.
listening.
I'm
They're
asking
hearing
you
you
a
say
question.
not listening, and
The
I
that's
can't be whataboutism if it's my
They cannot
question,
believe
Destiny.
Why
that they
won't
don't
Donald
understand
Trump disavow violence in the
Answer the
United
question.
All right,
Why
why
did
don't
you
we
say
do
that?
this? Why don't we
Why did
do
you say
this?
that?
Why don't we do this
Such an
before I
easy
cut?
damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, they're so foolish. And I understand Anna's sincerity, but there's a time and a place, and in this case, it's a tricky one, and it's there's a slight complexity to this one. And thanks to the immaturity and incapability of that side refusing to take accountability, that's really the part of the main gist of all this arguing and everything. It's so beyond frustrating. I don't know what Charlie's wife's name is, but like, not to make fun of her, but I didn't realize till later that she was standing next to Charlie's empty chair. I mean, oh man, like, it's just so blatantly obvious. Like, if that's not grifting, then I don't know what is. And I disagree with Anna, because that's not democracy when you're the way what Anna's doing. That's not democracy. There's no point in stooping so low to talk to them and try to find middle ground when they're only going to use that as fuel for their position. And you know what? Whataboutism comes from the person asking it, dummy. He's so dumb. How whiny of him. They can't focus on the topic. Instead they go to personal attacks. It's just so
Right.
aggravating.
Because you don't care.
Destiny,
You don't care that Kirk's dead.
Destiny,
Just be honest,
allow
you fuck.
Andrew,
Just be honest, you fuck.
allow Andrew to repeat his question and let him ask the question. Then you answer it, okay? And
Okay, this is where I thought Pierce was going to actually be fair and finally step in, suggesting that how about Destiny asks his question, and one by one each person gives their answer, and then they ask Destiny their question, and he can answer each of them one by one. But no, I don't know why I expected something decent to come out of this. Basically, like, it's an ambush. It's 4-1.
Andrew.
No, I want to hear the other
No,
side
no,
first.
let him ask the
Will
question.
Donald Trump
Let him
disavow
ask
violence in
the
this
question, Destiny, and then you answer
Destiny-
it.
This is so
Andrew.
ridiculous.
Destiny told his co-host, when asked point blank if he wanted the bullet to kill Trump, that the worst thing that could have happened was the bullet missing. He said this to Pisco. I watched it. Okay.
So what? A lot
This
of people
guy's
said
an
that.
obfuscation
So what?
machine. And you know what else, Destiny? Why should we believe you? I think you are glad Kirk is dead. And all of your tweets seem to prove that. And you would have been happy if Trump was assassinated. You've made that very clear. So why not just be truthful for once in your fucking life and say the truth, that you don't care that Kirk is dead, and you're actually probably glad he is.
You know what? Whether Destiny cares if he's dead or not is still irrelevant. No matter what they say about Destiny's influence and all these things, it's not the point he's trying to make. And they can't answer questions. It's so crazy.
Isn't that
It's
really
so
what's
crazy.
true?
It drives me nuts.
I don't want anybody in this country to die to political violence. I don't think in the United States of America that should be happening. I don't know why it's so hard for the president to say the same. I think it'd be the easiest thing in the world as a president. Biden did it for 4 years. That's why everything was way cooler when he was here, like in terms of temperature. The Clintons have no problem saying it. Barack Obama has no problem saying it. Kamala Harris has come out and said it. Every Democratic lawmaker and leader has basically come out and said it. But for some reason on the Republican side, it's just civil war, civil war, civil war. And the Republican president of the United States, who has presided over more violence politically in this country, more large protests than any president in all of U.S. history, for some reason can't bring himself to say, all of us need to calm down.
So did Trump deserve the bullet? Did Trump deserve the bullet?
This is all you care about are the political hit jobs.
Just answer the question, bro. Did Trump deserve the bullet?
Did Donald Trump
deserve the bullet
on his side ever? Did Donald Trump
answer the question? Did Trump deserve the bullet?
You can't answer the question. We're here to play.
No, bro. It's my turn to ask the question. It's your turn to answer. Did Trump deserve the bullet?
Did Trump disavow violence in this country ever?
Did he deserve the bullet? Yes, he's disavowed violence.
But
again, I just did. Now your turn. Now your turn. It's your turn.
Did Donald Trump?
Did Trump deserve the bullet?
I never said that. No, I never said that. No.
Okay, except you did to your co-host.
No, I didn't. Oh, wait. When did Donald Trump disavow? Wait. When did Donald Trump disavow violence in this country?
Your exact words to your co-host, you lying sack of shit. If he wanted to kill Trump, the worst thing that could have happened was the bullet missing. That's what you said, bro.
Yeah. And this is where, when you're putting YouTubers and tweeters on the same level as the President of the United States, this is why conservatives are absolutely brain broken when it comes to violence in this country. And that's why it'll continue.
But Destiny, Destiny,
going to turn around and be like, I can't believe it. What's going on? What's happening here?
Okay, Destiny, if you care so much about political violence in America, why don't you lead the way yourself without mentioning anybody else? Why don't you, Destiny, right now just outright condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because we've been doing that for a decade.
Yes,
one side can't turn the temperature. Can't turn down the temperature. If Donald Trump can't, then the left shouldn't until he does.
Got it. Okay, you don't want to do it.
Accountability for their actions. They need some responsibility for the insanity.
He had it coming.
Oh my God! He answers their questions clearly and precisely. What the hell? They need to understand exactly what he's saying instead of just arguing it. Like, just hear him out. God damn, so frustrating.
You've taken on yourself. Let me bring in Jack Posobiec.
We absolutely,
All right, that's enough, Destiny.
Nice, both sides it.
Oh, okay. So frustrating. But the fact that the entire panel can't answer Destiny's question is telling. It's not just frustrating to the max, but it's immature and insanely pathetic. Honestly, like whiny, bratty, spoiled babies. You know what it shows? It shows that the people who are demanding condemnation and moral performance from others don't have a coherent answer themselves when the same principles are applied to their side. They're so busy pointing fingers that they can't explain why Trump, as the leader with the real influence over this cult, hasn't done the one thing that could actually calm things down. And it exposes a few things, okay? Not only does it expose hypocrisy, because they demand morality from commenters while ignoring or excusing the failures of their own leaders, but it shows deflection. Like, when pressed with facts, they flail instead of addressing the actual question. And another thing is power versus performance. They confuse performing condemnation with actually solving the problem. Destiny's question, Destiny's question, the main question highlights that the only person with the real power, Trump, refuses to act responsibly. And that is so important here. And the fourth thing is intellectual dishonesty. Their inability to answer shows it's not about ethics, it's about signaling loyalty to the political identity. In short, the panel's silence isn't just awkward, it's proof that the moral outrage they demand is largely performative. Destiny's point isn't controversial once you strip away the theater. You can't fix a crisis by lecturing the powerless while ignoring the person causing it. I don't get why they can't just accept that. Why don't they just embrace that? It's the most obvious thing here. It's so crazy to me. All right, look, here's the problem with this whole Charlie Kirk thing. The right wants everyone, like Destiny and liberals, whoever, to stand up and perform its ritual, like, oh, we condemn the murder. But here's the truth. Condemnation from random commenters means nothing. It means nothing. If the President of the United States can't take 60 seconds to tell his followers to calm the fuck down. Trump didn't do that. He went on TV and he said, oh, this is war, the Democrats did this. And he knows what he's doing, because guess what? His supporters they started planning an actual war now. Seriously, they have. And that's the real danger. Now, whether Destiny tweets a sorry or not, come on. Stupid. Alright, and here's where the double standard kicks in. When lawmakers were assassinated in their own homes by a Trump supporter, Trump's response was literally, who? Who? No vigils, no national address, no lowering the temperature. No. But now, when it's a conservative podcaster of all fucking people, all things, suddenly you're a monster if you don't cry or grieve on command. Destiny's whole point is simple. Condemnation without leadership is pointless. You want violence to stop? Then the freaking leader of the MAGA movement has to say it. And he won't. Because chaos is the point, of course. So no, it's not inhumane to push back on this. What's inhumane is pretending some lives deserve infinite mourning while others, elected officials or protesters, ordinary people, don't even get acknowledged. That is not basic humanity, that's selective grief. And if the right really wants peace, the answer isn't forcing liberals to cry on cue. The answer is holding their own leader accountable. And until then, everything else is just theater. And boy, is it theater right now. I mean, you don't get to weaponize grief, okay? Either we mourn all victims, or admit you only care when it's your side, and that you're participating in dividing this country to the fullest. Compassion will cure more than condemnation. Correcting each other does much, but encouraging one another does everything. It does worlds and worlds more.
Got your data, dumbass.
Do not come. Do not come.